Sorry about the noise behind me. I have traffic passing by. I stopped on a main road to take an image of this medieval city called Medina on the Maltese Islands. I'll be turning it into black and white and possibly into fine art. So I'll see you back in the studio. Hi there everybody, I'm back in the studio now. We'll be editing this image and I think it's going to be an easy one. So bear with me till the end of the video and you'll see the transformation I do from color to black and white. I'm going to start by changing the profile to landscape. My aim is to increase all the colors in the image as much as I can, so we get much more detail when we're in black and white. Now I'm going to reduce the highlights, increase just a touch of shadows, the whites, the blacks, a touch of contrast, and I'm going to decrease the exposure, and that way we even out the histogram. Next I'm going to go down to the effects panel, texture, I always go above 20, a bit of clarity and a touch of dehaze. You can see the colors are getting more vibrant. That is my aim, like I told you before. Now I'm going to go down to the calibration tab and increase the saturation of the blue primary. And I'm going to go past halfway. I know it's a lot of colors, a lot of saturation and vibrance, don't worry. And here I'm going to take it over to Photoshop and turn it to black and white. I don't like using the black and white here in Adobe Camera Raw. I don't see it's that accurate, so I go and use the one in Photoshop. A simple process, bear with me. And here we are in Photoshop. I'm going to go down to the adjustment layer and click on black and white. Close the tab, go back down to the adjustment layer and I click on gradient map. Click on classic. If your histogram is like this, like a negative, just click on your image, if it's like this, just click on the gradient map and swap over the whites and the blacks. Just swap them over. And there we have a much more better black and white image. Click OK. Close this one. Open the three lines and flatten the image and take it back over to Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom. Camera Raw filter. And I'm going to play a bit more with these sliders since they're all set back to 0. Much more detail in the clouds, but it's a bit flat, the image, don't worry. We'll get to that soon. Increase the shadows, again the whites. the blacks also. Hold down the Alt key on our windows. Some contrast. And I'm going to increase just a bit of exposure. There we have a nice black and white image. But now we're going to do some masking. Just simple masking, like a linear gradient above the sky. Reduce the exposure. I'm going to do another linear gradient. Reduce the exposure. Not go down too much. I'm going to use another linear gradient for the foreground to about there. Reduce the exposure. And like this, we're drawing the viewer's eye to the main subject, which is the Mdina city here. Next, I'm going to use a radial gradient and place it over the city here. And I'm just going to raise a touch of exposure. Just till around there. I told you before it's going to be a quick one and we're soon ready. Just use another radial gradient. The sun had risen behind me, so I'm going to place another radial filter and we'll be creating a vignette. Open it up and invert the vignette on this triangle here and reduce the exposure. That seems okay. Now what I'm going to do is go down to the curve tool. Sometimes I use the curve tool in Adobe Camera or Lightroom, and sometimes I go back to Photoshop and use the curve tool there. But I'm going to try it here in Adobe Camera Raw. And I'm going to give it a little bit of pop by increasing the highlights and increasing the lights. Might reduce the darks, and I think we're about ready. Now I'm going to show you the before and after, and you see how easy it is to create a black and white image from color. Click on the eyeball and you're going to see the before. Before, the masks and editing, and after. I think it's much better. Leave comments below and tell me what you think. And I'll see you in a future video. Thank you guys. Hit the subscribe button and see you.